Okie dokie.
All right, so make sure you mute your mic whenever you're not speaking.
Yep.
All right, cool. I think if I did everything correctly, let me just go to Twitch real quick because Andy can cut all this out. See if it's being captured correctly. Hopefully it is. Say something.
Something.
Good job. Okay, perfect. Is actually recording. All right. Well, welcome everybody to episode 2 of the DZXR-Podcast. I am Moves the Lad, Darian. I was on last week, a little bit of a co-host here with Andy Malarkey. Andy won't be joining us today, unfortunately. He has other business he's attending to currently, and unfortunately. But I am still joined by Matt, Desert Dog, gentleman that was on the podcast last week. Hopefully he's going to be recurring as well. And today we're just going to be going into a little bit of us, a little bit of our backstory and how we became admins or moderators, or how our kind of adventure started in the realm of running a server together with Andy and everybody else that's part of our admin and moderator team. Say hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hello. But yeah, with all that being said, actually, so Matt, I'm actually generally curious. I think I was a moderator of the last server that we were a part of together first, or were you?
Pretty sure you were for a short period of time. Didn't become a mod until not too long ago, really, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, because I could have swore it was. I could have swore you were a mod first, but either way. So how did that start for you? Did somebody ask you to become one? Did you just want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to do it. It was during the time that a server was, kind of teetering upon collapse, basically. And they
Population
asked
wise.
for, population wise, and basically just asked that they needed a mod, and so I stepped up. So about time I did it. I've been with the server for over a year at that point. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I think honestly I was in the same boat as you. I think I just saw a little bit of dreariness, I guess you'd say, coming from the moderator team, and it was just a little bit of a kind of a jump to what I thought my natural conclusion was. Always kind of saw myself as someone who could bring people together.
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of generally what I always thought of myself, but you always think the best of yourself. Other people might not see it that way. um, but yeah, no, I thought that would be a good thing to bring up, like how we became mods and then eventually now admins of the server, because we just got 2 new members of the moderator team, which is awesome. Hugo and Chase. We just kind of accepted them informally today and welcomed them into the moderator team officially this morning. I did, and it was nice. I'm glad to have these 2. I mean, these 2 guys just joined the server to play, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They
Definitely.
they weren't around for a while. They haven't really been around for too long. They just kind of joined, and they showed, I guess, the initiative. They wanted to try and make the server and the Discord a little bit of a better place for everyone to come together and try and be as welcoming as possible, I guess. But But we didn't go
Yeah.
into last week what I kind of wanted to go into, and I really, really wish Andy was here to talk about it a little bit. But since we're going to be doing this hopefully on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, I think it would be good for the listener to get to know us a little bit more personally. I don't know if you'd be opposed to that, but if you'd like to start, like, give us a little bit of your background and what you did in real life, and you know.
Yeah. So, real life, I joined the Army as an infantryman straight out of high school. Um,
Good old diet
and
stupid.
yeah, pretty much. Uh, yeah, I got to my unit, and they threw me a 30-pound fucking machine gun, and that's pretty much what I did my whole career in the Army for 4 years. Went to Afghanistan, did all that bit.
Just kind of carried it around, looking cool.
Yeah, looking
Nice.
cool and feeling cool, and
Yeah,
until
feeling cooler
yeah, until I got broke. But
till you got
uh,
broke. So what happened when you got broke? Want to tell people what happened, or
uh well, physically,
that's what I meant? Yeah,
I've
physically.
yeah, physically, I was coming off of a ladder providing overwatch for our platoon, and it was some little janky wood stick ladder off of the roof of some Afghani's house.
Safe.
And yeah, well, exactly. It
So
broke,
like
and I
OSHA
fell.
came by. OSHA came by and like was like, "This is good. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah,
as long
totally.
as you're
Yeah,
as
they're
long as
like,
you're tied on, you're good."
yeah, yeah. Freaking first step down on that ladder with over 100 pounds of gear on, and me being 180 myself at the time, freaking
Yeah.
snapped. Fell,
Jesus.
fucked my knees, fucked my back,
Jesus.
and of course, trying to be tough guy, I didn't go see the medics or nothing about it. Dealt with it the rest of the deployment, and it just made it worse. So,
Gotcha. Wow. Damn.
well,
That's rough. That's really rough. So did you always want to do that? Is that something like you when you were in high school? You're like, as soon as I get out, I'm gonna go in. That's it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I honestly didn't have any other choice, anyways. My family didn't have the money to send me to college, and you know, so that was really my only choice. Plus, it was something I always wanted to do. Um, Throughout high school, myself and my father, we actually did World War II reenacting. Um,
Okay. Nice. So you've always been kind of a
yeah,
war guy.
yeah, and even in the reenactment group, I was the machine gunner, so I never got away from. But but yeah, no, so I've always, always interested in the military. My dad was in the National Guard. Um, Pretty much every male figure in both sides of my family were in the military.
Nice. Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's that's incredible. I mean, the complete opposite of you. Actually, like none of my family, except for like my grandpa. I think my great grandpa actually fought in World War II. Except he might have been a fascist. I was just leave it at that.
Oof.
I'm a 100% Italian American immigrant. Well, first generation American. Both my parents are from Sicily, and yeah, no, our family's got a little bit of a troubled past with Mr. Mussolini up there. But my dad likes to say my great grandpa wasn't pro Mussolini. He was just pro himself. He's anything he could do to just kind of stay alive in the troubled European times back then.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean that makes sense. I think most people would be like that, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so put it this way: if Italy were to won the war, he would be an Italian, but we lost. So guess what? He's an international. He became an internationalist. that's what he would call himself. But but yeah, no. So I was raised here in Jersey, and I never really had any interest in doing anything military whatsoever. I mean, after high school, I kind of just bounced around from place to place. Just kind of moving around the country a little bit. I bartended a lot. It's kind of my go-to job just my everyday job, bartending. So when I enlisted, it was a bit different for me. It was kind of a culture shock, a little bit of a difference. But I unfortunately couldn't stay for too long. Long story short, I have a arachnoid brain tumor. I mean, you make fun of it all the time.
Yeah.
It makes me smarter, I like to think, but I think it makes me dumber.
I definitely confirm it makes you dumber.
I appreciate it. That's why you're my friend. This is why we're friends.
Yeah.
At least you're not drinking, painting, eating crayons with the rest of the with any Marines. All right, and you just diet stupid with the Army.
Yep.
A little bit of a diet. But yeah, no. So you see, like that's one thing that we in the community wanted to show the rest of the community, I guess, and the people who may or may not listen to the podcast, like there are people from all different walks of life and all of different paths, that have gone down either similar paths in their lives or completely different ones. Like for instance, me and Matt here, we would never have become friends in real life. Like if we were just me
probably
at the
not.
bar, we would probably have nothing in common. You know what I mean? Like it was just, but Daisy and the community itself brought us together a little bit, and I find that absolutely incredible, and it fascinates me to this day that I make friends that I'm gonna have probably for the rest of my life on a video game. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you told me that 15 years ago when the original Xbox was the only thing that you could play and it was all single player, like I would called you a liar.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's amazing what technology has become.
Dude, it's actually really funny. There was a bunch of, back in like the 90s when the internet was first gaining like traction, I was reading some article about some internet utopianists that wrote like, oh, the internet is going to bring the world together. There's going to be no more war. There's going to be no more suffering. People aren't going to go hungry anymore because the internet is going to bring us all together. Back in 2018, the same people that wrote that article, the internet utopianists, came out and they're like, we're so sorry. We were so wrong. We had no idea what would happen with the internet. It's awful. It's an awful place. Social media is going to bring the world down by 2044. Like,
I mean, to be fair, they got one thing right. It did bring the world together. It not in a good way.
No, I think it brought the world together by separating us individually. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They were like, we're built for villages. Our brains are still built for tribes. We can't handle this. Our brains are too small. Internet's too big. I thought that was super funny. But at the same time, you have communities like DayZ, where me and Alfie, who probably would have never met in our entire lives, or me, you, and Andy, who probably would have never met our whole lives, get to enjoy each other's company on pretty much a daily or every other day basis. I find that pretty interesting to go on about. But since we are talking a little bit about the community as a whole, did we go into Hugo? We did. We talked about Hugo and Chase for just a little while. I don't know about you. I'm pretty excited to work with them a lot closer in the future. They kind of showed that initiative that they wanted to be part of the team. And I'm pretty excited.
I mean, when they became volunteers, I mean, they stepped up almost right away and doing everything that they could as volunteers, which wasn't much, to be honest. That was allowed for them to be able to do, but they've definitely stepped up a lot. It's great.
Yeah, I'm super proud and I'm super happy that we have cultivated this sense of, I feel like the sense of quote unquote family. I feel like that term is overused, like with businesses and whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Any type of group that you're in, like, oh, we're a family, you know what I mean? I always hate saying that because, to be fair, we're not. We are. I like to think that we are. I'm very close with most, if not all of you guys, but I just think that term is overused. But with that being said, I'm glad that we did cultivate that sense of a family structure where somebody can say, hey, I need help with this, and not feel ashamed that they need help, or like, hey, I need to take a week off. Like, I can't. I'm struggling a little bit. You know what I mean? We would be able to help them, through a difficult situation or a difficult time, or even just be there for them, pick up some slack or whatever. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm glad Hugo and Chase are there as well. I was starting to get a little worried that the admin team was getting a little burnt out doing everything, seeing a lot less of them online and actually playing the game, but I see them constantly in the Discord. So I was just getting a little nervous there. So I'm glad we got a little bit more of a moderator push,
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I speaking to Andy about, let me try to consolidate words.
Consolidate words.
Remember, I'm diet stupid. All right, shut up.
Listen, finish the crayon in your mouth before you start talking. Chew and swallow before you start
I'm,
talking, please.
I'm not a damn Marine. Army, okay? Marines are the crayons. Army
You're
is
right. You're right. You're right. It's
not
just
crayons. But
not heated MREs.
yeah. Hey,
It's just
you know,
cold
speaking of that,
MREs.
sorry. That's actually how I ate MREs. It's cold. It is so
You're
much
disgusting.
easier.
You're a disgusting animal. You're a disgusting animal. We're no longer friends, actually. So
I
if
would
anybody
just.
wants to be in the podcast next week,
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I
best
could definitely
MRE, go.
tell
Wait,
that.
hang on. Wait.
Oh,
Best MRE,
best
go.
MRE. Oh, spaghetti.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Because the spaghetti came with pretzel sticks and a ciabatta bread. And so basically what I would do is I would open up the spaghetti packet, open everything up, throw it all in the spaghetti,
You
crumble it
make
all
pizza?
up, and just eat it all at once.
Oh. See, I thought you were going to go with I made like a little makeshift pizza. My pop-up would have been proud.
No. No, everything thrown in one bag with the spaghetti, not even heated up, just fucking eat it.
That's just, wow, you are
I
a
mean,
damn animal.
to be fair, most of the time didn't even have time to fucking heat the shit up anyways. You just had to eat.
That's true. See, I did have time to actually do that stuff because I wasn't in
Yeah.
the desert.
Yeah, you weren't constantly under threat of taking rounds from nowhere all of a sudden.
No, you're right. I had a desk job. I was an overglorified retail manager. Anyways.
Anyways,
Keep
but
going.
yeah, no, with Andy, that like I could definitely tell he was getting tired. I mean, he was doing so much in the Discord by himself, basically. Um, I know for me personally, like I do the XMLs, the coder, so like that's my main focus. I don't try to understand how to run the Discord. My brain can't do both.
Yeah, so
So
actually, that brings up a really good topic that we can touch on for the next update because the JSON files that you can do with actually editing the server, I'm super excited to see pre-built bases. I think that's something that we haven't even brought up
yes,
to the community yet, but I think we could break that now, right? I mean, and if not, Andy could just cut this out. Andy, cut this out if we can't break the news yet, but we're just going to talk for about the next 5 to 10 minutes about it, and if we can't use it, just scrap it. Anyways, continue. And I want to talk about that.
but yeah, no, like with this next update, the devs have unlocked the ability to use so many more assets to place in the world, um, along the lines of furniture. So like beds, chairs, tables, couches, everything.
It's like
The
walls
the
too, like fences, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so like the way it is right now, the only time of fencing I could place is just the actual gates, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yes, with this next update, walls, fences. So like best example is those military concrete walls with barbed wire on top. I can place those. I can place. There's those really tall fences with barbed wire on top. It's military. I think it's only in Chernarus. I don't think there's anything in Livonia with it, but I can place those. The regular chain link fences, the just regular concrete walls, everything.
Sweet.
Um,
And they're all player interactable, right? Like you could jump over them, and for
yeah,
the people who don't know like layman terms, what JSON really means, like I don't even know what it means, but it's basically an asset. Correct me if I'm wrong. That you can take from, say you're building a map in Halo or something like that. You just take an asset that's there and you can just free place it, right?
yes, exactly. Um, yeah, basically, I guess the best way to describe it would be like this is the tools that the devs use to build areas. So,
So you
like,
could basically
we're
build
basically,
what they
yeah,
didn't, like what they,
exactly.
neat, really neat. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
super excited for that, especially for them. I'm really especially excited for them those walls. Maybe we can do something with that in the future seasons when they unlock even more stuff. But what I really want to go into is for the community wise, like pre-built bases? Like if somebody wants to, give me an idea of what you think that might look like in an RP standpoint. Like how would we go about, say, like for instance, right now in my stream, I'm looking out at an open field. Like say I'm a player on the server, I'm just Joe Schmo. I joined, I'm playing as whoever the hell, and I want one of these pre-built bases. What would I do to get one of those, since I can't just go and make it myself?
So kind of the idea as of right now, none of this is settled in stone. It's going to be one of two things. It's
Yes,
either
don't get too excited,
you,
everybody.
yeah. So it's either you will bring a certain list of supplies to that area and give me a screenshot or something of proof that it's there, and then I will place that base um, for you, and then basically I don't know, something will happen. Either that or it'll just be, kind of like a realty NPC. So like someone from admin, probably me, because I'm the one that builds it, um, will have, basically these set up, and like you'll contact my NPC realtor, so it won't be my actual character in game. So you won't actually ever see this person. Um, but you'll basically give him a certain amount of nails or whatever, or something that hasn't been figured out yet. But and then I'll place the item for you. And then, so I've got the plan right now is I'm gonna build probably two different types of just regular like squared off walls. So like no buildings or anything yet, but just build off walls that can be placed into fields. So think of like military type of compounds, like like you would see with Tesco barriers, the brown boxes and shit like that. And then you can place all your tents, and inside it'll be secure. No one will be able to get over it. You just have to build your gate, and that's it.
Oh, that's awesome. Like the lockable gate, you mean? Like the actual player built
Yeah,
wooden fence or
yeah, the actual
metal's metal? Gotcha.
yeah, that'll be literally the only thing you have to build yourself.
Sweet. Oh, God,
Um,
I'm really very much so looking forward to this.
yeah,
Especially because Livonia
and
is full of just those open fields.
exactly, and that's the thing. Like, so there'll be a couple different versions of that. Probably one more civilian-like, and then one more military-like.
Okay, neat. Yeah, yeah,
Like a
dude. We can even think of it in a different RP sense of like if someone wants to come in and they say they're role playing as just a hunter or a fisherman or whatever, maybe we can
exactly.
have something set up near a lake or you know what I mean, just something a little bit more secure than just a couple of walls surrounding a couple of trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then that brings me into the next point. I'm gonna try and like wall off and secure certain places on the map. Um, that'll become basically purchasable bases.
Okay,
Um,
like a
so they'll
Zillow,
be
like Zillow.com.
yeah, yeah, basically. So they'll be locked off before anybody can get into them, so you won't have someone accidentally just you know build a base in there, and then I go to turn the JSON on and there's already someone there. Um, and then you'll have to go to this realtor and purchase that base if you want. So for people who don't particularly like to build or want a base that just looks better, to be honest. Um, you don't have to focus on finding saws, shovels, everything, collecting wood and planks. You can literally just collect nails.
And
Purchase
with
these
that being
bases
said,
from
I do want
realtor.
to touch on that. Like with that being said, we don't want to deter anybody from doing that. So say if you
Yeah,
find a we're not making it a rule or we're not changing anything. None of this at all is set in stone whatsoever. We haven't even talked about this in the
no.
greater aspect of the admin team. This is just a very generalized what we would do if we were going to incorporate this. But I don't want anybody to hear this and go, "Oh, great, I can't build in my favorite spot anymore." Like, no, please, like that's going to be
Yeah,
obviously very much so still a thing. If you want your little house blocked up or warehouse or even our little compound that I'm walking around right now, like if you want to do stuff like this instead, please, like that's going to be a thing that's obviously going to continue. We're not going to take any gameplay aspects away from anybody.
exactly. And and that being said, actually, you just made me think of a good point. Is if there is a spot that I have secured, and you would rather just build it yourself, probably what I would do is just like be like a very large discounted price. You could purchase the land, so to speak, and then I'll just remove the JSON assets if you still want to build there.
I like that. That's a good idea as well. So have you've been playing on the experimental servers? You've been in them. You've been seeing the new
Yes.
stuff. Like so, I haven't. I haven't seen literally a damn thing for the next update. I never go on the experimental servers. I don't know why. Probably because I can't stand any other server besides for ours on this game. I don't play any other servers except for this one. So go please. I want to hear a little bit more about any new weapons, new features, anything that you've seen that you're excited about personally.
Personally, I am very excited about the craftable improvised explosive devices. Um, they will basically be a protective case combined with an electrical repair kit. It'll turn the case into an improvised explosive device, and it'll have two slots to place explosives in, and that's any explosive. So like um, frag grenades, flashbangs, smoke grenades, the newly added plastic explosives, which is it's not a C4 like most people think when you say plastic explosive. It's more of an industrial. It's like kind of like a mining explosive is what it looks like.
Okay,
Um,
neat. And that'll be able to just take down walls.
yes. So from the testing I did, the plastic explosive placed properly will completely destroy one whole wall.
Woof. That's gonna
Yes.
be fun. That's gonna be a lot of fun to use, especially when it comes to base rating and stuff like that. I mean, unfortunately and fortunately, we don't have much of that going on in our server, just because it's a role play server, and really there's no point in raiding someone just for loot and stuff. But I can see how that's going to
Yeah.
be implemented a lot more in official servers. A lot of people are going to be chasing after electrical repair kits. The most useless item in the game is going to become the most coveted very shortly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, the kitchen timers and clocks that were previously added um, will be able to be used as trigger devices for the improvised explosive device. Um, so, best example is you build your IED and then you put two frag grenades in it. You can then take your kitchen timer, you set your time to say 30 minutes, and then you arm the explosive with the timer in your hand, and then 30 minutes after that has been armed, it will explode. Um,
Woof.
Same thing with the alarm clock. You can set it to a certain server time. So say you want it to go off at dawn, just as the sun's coming up. You know what time the sun comes up in your server. You set it to that time because the alarm clocks go off of in-game time,
Hmm.
whereas the kitchen timers go off of real life time. Um, yeah, but yeah, so alarm clocks basically, and this is just a thought I had. You could basically set up multiple IEDs around a location with alarm clocks all set to the same time, and then have multiple explosions going off at the same time.
Ugh. That's going to be incredible for a lot of people. That's gonna be. I don't want to go into. I don't want to go into too much about what people may or may not be doing, but that's gonna be absolutely incredible for our server. I think a lot of people are gonna have a lot of fun with this stuff.
Exactly. And then there's remote detonators. They have a 100-meter radius
Now, this
or
is a new
100-meter
addition, or is this
distance.
something you craft?
So the remote detonator is a new addition. Um, you have to find it's a remote detonator kit. It has the trigger and the receiver attached. Um, they are found vanilla. They're found in industrial zones along with the plastic explosives.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, but basically you'll take the kit in your hand, and then once you can either arm just the plastic explosive with it directly, or you can attach it to an IED. Once you arm it, the trigger will be in your hand, and then there's actually a red little LED light on it, and then that tells you it's connected. And I think it has a range of 100 meters now.
Now, is there going to be like a dead man switch, or is it going to be very much so just like you press a button, like you're turning on a flashlight?
Yeah, you have to detonate it. Like you have to have it in your hand and then click the trigger like you're going to shoot a gun. It's the detonator.
Okay.
And speaking of that, IEDs and armed explosives you will not be allowed to put into the inventory of anything. So you can't put them in crates, you can't put them in cars or your backpack. Basically, you have to place the explosive on the ground and then arm it on the ground, and then it becomes static. You can't move it after that.
You can't even disarm it after that.
Yes, you can disarm it.
Gotcha. So this is going to be if you find an armed explosive, and you know what I mean, it's going to be pretty neat.
Yes.
Kind of like an EOD squad.
Yes, and speaking of, you just reminded me of this. If you have the trigger in your hand, you can disarm it and recollect the receiver. If you do not, so say you find someone else's explosive, you have to have a screwdriver, possibly a lockpick kit. I'm not sure about the lockpick though, but I know for a fact a screwdriver to disarm it, and then the receiver becomes destroyed once you disarm it with that way.
So you'd have to make yourself another receiver if you wanted to use it yourself.
Yeah, so if you want to use it yourself, basically the receiver becomes ruined, and then you have to find a whole nother kit because each trigger and receiver is connected to each other. Like
I understand.
Yeah.
They're linked like to metaphorical tin cans on string.
Exactly. Yeah. So like once you've used a trigger to detonate a device, it's essentially useless. You can't use it again. But they did add with one of these last hot fixes is you'll now be able to take a screwdriver to that trigger that's no longer usable and deconstruct it and get a 9-volt battery from it.
Okay, so there are little things that they're changing to make a little bit more useful or even realistic in a sense of getting it back, or if somebody did want to roleplay as like an EOD squad or something like that, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's neat. Yeah, it would take a lot of a setup, but it would
yes,
it would absolutely be pretty cool. But that's awesome, dude. I'm super hyped for especially the JSON stuff. I like building bases in this game. That's one of the reasons why I got so into this game in the beginning was like, they added you could build it. You know what I mean? You could build your dream base, like you find a big warehouse or an ACT building or something or a house and lock it up. It just was kind of guided me towards this game a little bit more. I very much so enjoyed that. So I'm a big Minecraft guy. but I'm super excited about that. But I did, before we go, we don't have much time left. I don't want Andy to have to cut up like an hour's worth of stuff. But before we do go, I did want to bring up one last thing. So we had a person, I'm not going to go into their name, I don't know if they want to be involved in the podcast at all. But long story short, we saw on his bio in his Discord, almost 40-year-old guy, just getting into gaming. He's relatively new at gaming as a whole, and he's looking for a quote-unquote non-toxic community or non-toxic environment to be a part of. And I thought that was super interesting that someone would feel like they had to do that, to put that on and make that almost like a staple of their online personas. Like, I'm looking for a non-toxic community. In my opinion, I don't think any community should be toxic. Of course, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But I did want to touch on, have you, Matt, had many experiences with toxicity in gaming communities?
To be honest, yeah, actually, that was basically one of the things that led me to this community. Is I had tried other. Well, when I first got DayZ, I tried official servers, which anybody who's played DayZ official know exactly where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything. You can't progress really because you just randomly catch a bullet. somewhere.
No, of course, yeah.
And so I tried a couple of RP servers who weren't actually RP servers. You know, like best example was the server I was in before I found this one. I went around and like no one was allowed to kill you on sight, but basically they would come up to you, say put your hands up, and then if you didn't put your hands up within like a second, then they could just shoot you. So
Yeah,
that's what they would
gotcha.
do. They'd run up to you, be like, "Hey, put your hands up," and me, still being somewhat new to the game, trying to figure it out. Oh, too late. Boom, I'm dead again.
Yeah.
So, and then I'd go into the Discord and I would kind of show my disdain and my displeasure in that, and basically everyone else in the community would just say, get good, you suck, noob. Even the admins, like, well, that's how it is. Those are the rules. Deal with it. So
Damn. Yeah, that's super unfortunate, especially because a lot of communities like that could grow and could become a little bit better and more accepting of people's general skill level at the game. This is a very difficult game to pick up. It's not a very shallow learning curve. It's a very steep one.
oh
If
yes.
you don't know what you're doing, you're kind of SOL if you don't know what you're doing at first and you don't have anybody to help you out. You know, I guess I'm fortunate in the fact that I have been playing the game. I know the controls. I know the aspect of it. I know what to and not to do because I've been playing it for so long. But seeing someone who's not only new to gaming or new to the game specifically, but new to gaming as a whole, I could see how almost every community could be a toxic community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, saw that. I wanted to bring it up. I thought it was super disappointing to see that someone needed to put that on their profile, so they weren't, um, like I'm not. I don't want to say picked on because he's an adult. I don't think anybody's picking on him like it's a 13-year-old, locker room. But
Yeah.
at the same point, it is just disappointing because gaming culture as it is now, it's my hobby. Like this is what I do with my free time. This is what I enjoy to do. Um, One of them, but it's the
Yeah.
biggest one, And I think it's the same thing for you, So
Exactly.
someone going out of their way to purposely make that a bad time is not helping anybody. And just going back to those internet utopianists I was talking about before that said the internet would bring us all together and everything would be good and nice and end world hunger and all that good stuff. And then they turned around and was like, "We lied. We absolutely lied." I think it just goes hand in hand with that correction that they had. It
Yep.
We need to kind of come together because this is all of our hobbies, in my opinion. And if you play video games, you play video games to enjoy it. You don't play video games to get picked on or be bullied out of your hobby.
Exactly.
Kind of turns a
Yeah,
lot of
and I
people
mean,
away.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, like that example. I mean, they lost a fucking member of their server because they were dicks,
Yeah,
and now this
exactly.
community has gained one, and I've
And
been here
I
for
think we're better for it.
two
We're
years.
yeah,
Two
we're
years
we're
now. I've been
we're
in.
absolutely. And look at you now. Like that
Yeah.
community lost
Yeah.
someone who in a year could have been a moderator, could have been an admin, could have helped build the server, and you could have built it with them. But instead, we were unfortunate enough to get you. And I'm kidding. um, we were the unlucky sods that ended up picking your ass up off the dirt. No, I'm kidding. No, of
Hey,
course.
you wouldn't have all these nice JSON built bases soon if it wasn't for me.
I
So
know. Don't go anywhere, please. That's the only reason why we keep you around. I'm kidding. Oh no, but yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like they lost a valuable member of the gaming community as a whole, just the DayZ community as a whole. I think you're a very valuable member to our community. I don't know what we would do without you, Matt. Honestly. Um,
I'd appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, like I did want to go into that a little bit as well in my form. Like I don't only play Daisy. I play Rocket League. I play a little bit of Hell Let Loose. I just I'm kind of a full spectrum when it comes to video games. I like to play video games for fun. There are a lot of communities out there, especially like Rocket League or like Call of Duty, that is just rife with people saying what you were saying, like, "Hey, get good," or even
Yeah.
if you lost, they'd invite you to a party just to curse you out, or how many times I've heard that a 13-year-old had sex with my mom is just absolutely insane. Um,
Yeah.
I don't even know where she is. Yet, meanwhile, all these 14-year-olds are banging her. I have no idea what's going on with that. But yeah, that completely turns me off of a certain community. For instance, on the topic of like Rocket League, there's actually a setting where you can turn off chat from the other team, so you don't have to communicate with the other team if you don't want to. And the game got better for me when I did that because I enjoyed it more because I didn't have to constantly see things like "you suck, get out, 1v1 me because you're bad," blah 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that turns a lot of people away. And if you enjoy something, I feel like you'd want to share that. And I don't understand the people who are have those toxic traits. I don't understand their thought process. Honestly, I don't. I don't understand the thought process of I enjoy this, so I want no one else to enjoy this. Like what? What? It doesn't make sense to me. I enjoy this so much, I'm going to make you hate it.
The only thing I can think of is they don't hate other people. They hate themselves. And so they try to make themselves feel better by making other people feel worse.
Okay. So you're gonna equate toxic 30-year-olds to normal 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
Or
basically.
angsty teenagers. I always graded them to angsty teenagers, but I hate doing that because I was at one point an angsty teenager that only listened to My Chemical Romance and said, "I hate you, Dad." I'm gonna be in a punk band and play bass.
I mean, I definitely had that phase where, I was angry at the world, hated the world. But, yeah, you get older and you grow out of that and you realize how stupid it was.
Yeah,
And
no, of
that's
course.
what I really don't understand about, people who are in their 30s that do that. It's like, grow up. Come on.
Sociopaths. That's what they are. Sociopaths.
Yeah. But anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, that's actually all the time we have, Matt. I really appreciate you you doing this with me today. I know everybody listening, it's only the two of us today. Unfortunately, we didn't have the rest of the crew on to be able to talk openly about this stuff. But if we do end up bringing this up again in the future, there will be more of us and a little bit more of a story from a couple different people as well. In the future, we do want to bring in some more guests from our Discord in general, like maybe new members, get some different perspectives on their experiences with our server specifically and DayZ as a whole. Especially this new update coming out. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this new update. I'm so excited. Can't stop talking about it. Anyways, well, yeah, thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the DZXR-Podcast, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah.